Stop the cap! This is the best equipment accessory in Rise of Kingdoms! What is up, rockers? Welcome back to another Rise of Kingdoms content here. Today, we're going to talk about the actual best equipment accessory in Rise of Kingdoms. Now, as you guys have already known, I have crafted the concealed dagger and I've explained how the concealed dagger work. Now we're going to explain this further comparison to other equipments in Rise of Kingdoms. Now, if you want to see the video that we have made for the concealed dagger information, it will be on the top right corner of the screen right now. Well, rockers, as you can see, that the concealed dagger has been getting a lot of attention. A lot of players have been crafting the concealed dagger than any other equipments in here. But there's always debates, right? That is the other equipments better? There are equipments in the epic tier also that serves a really great purpose. Now, before we actually look into the concealed dagger, let's take a look in some of the equipments in here in the epic tier. How are these epic equipment compared to the legendary equipments? Now, understand this is that some of the equipments in Rise of Kingdoms are very situational based. And let me explain to you what I mean. If you look into the silent trial, this is a normal attack. So meaning, if you look into the silent trial, you can see that this is a normal attack. So every time you attack, you're going to be decreasing the rage of the opponent. Now, just so you know, and we're not making stuff up in here, and give you an actual data, let's take a look. You can see silent trial in effect, right? Every turn you reduce the rage of the opponent. Now, if you want to look into the Horn of Fury, this is a 30% chance to gain 50 rage, okay? 30% chance is not a secure chance. Say you can trigger this in the 2 turns, so you've already accumulated 100 rage, and let's say you did not proc this in the 20 turns, so you lost what? So much rage. So now that you kind of understand the silent trial, right? This is a normal attack. So this can work in any type of commanders that you want. Even your gatherers, if you want your gatherers to have the silent trial, go for it. But another thing is I've seen there's a comparison between the pendant as well. Now the pendant, of course, this is a skill damage. Well, if you start equipping this pendant to an Attila and Takeda, to a Julius Caesar, to a Scipio, then you're not getting any benefit that way. All right, you got to put the pendant to the highest casting skilled commander, like Guan Yu, Edward of Woodstock, Ramses YSG. Those are the commanders that you're gonna have to put this skill damage. Now, if you guys don't know, just a little bit of information in here, the additional damage from Alexander as well would benefit from the skill damage increase. Yes. I've asked the customer support, how does skill damage reduction work? Would it also work against the additional skill damage? Yes, it is. Now, I believe that if the description said specifically active skill, that's the only time the additional damage is not being buffed. Now, let's take a look at the Horn of Fury. This is going to grant you 30% chance to gain 50 rage. Now, let's compare this to the Silent Trial. Silent Trial is an epic equipment. Easier to craft, easier to obtain compared to the Horn of Fury. In the Silent Trial, which I have shown you in the battle report, it triggers every time you attack. So if you think about this, it's a sure ball reducing the rage of the enemy, right? Now, the Horn of Fury is a chance base for you to gain rage. So let's say in the 2 turns, you manage to gain 100 rage, you proc the 30%, which is really nice. And let's say you weren't very lucky and you didn't really trigger this Horn of Fury for, 10 seconds. So you basically lost a lot of rage by then to, for this item. Instead, with the Silent Trial, you would have reduced sure ball reduction of rage. So with that happen, you're actually reducing the rage of the enemy and you are gaining more momentum that way. But this Horn of Fury is still really good because when it does trigger, which, it's very unlikely that it's not going to trigger for 10 turns or 20 turns. It's still very good. But if you're a low spender, I would probably not suggest for you to get the Horn of Fury. I would say stick with the Silent Trial, reduce the enemy's rage, and then focus on other items in here instead, which we're going to be talking about. Now, I have heard that the Concealed Dagger is not really that good. We have crafted it. Why I crafted this is because I already know that this is good. All right. I know just by reading the stats in here and how well it is. I want you to understand that you can't even compare this Concealed Dagger to the Horn of Fury. My debate in here is that you can do whatever calculation you want. I don't know, right? My debate in here is, if you think about this, turn 1, listen carefully. Turn 1, I reduce the health of the enemy, right? In turn 1, on the Horn of Fury, I gain 50 rage. In that first turn, right? In that first turn, what happens? I reduce the enemy's health. I inflicted more damage. I reduce a troop count. He inflicts me lesser damage then on the next turn because I've reduced a lot of, troops for him. All right. Now, Horn of Fury, turn 1, right? Gain rage, 50 rage. Nice. How much does it take to cast an active skill? Oh, it's 1,000. It's 1,000. So in the turn-based ratio, if you're just looking at simplicity in here, you get more value on the dagger. You get more value in the dagger. Now, if they trigger at the same time, you do get more value with the dagger. Why do I say this? It's because with the dagger in each turn, you are reducing the troop count more. So by the time you are able to cast a skill, let's say you were able to cast an active skill with the Horn of Fury, the enemy in the turns before that had a higher troop count and a higher damage towards you. Instead, with the dagger, you're reducing that troop count as you go. Now, there can be whatever mathematical equations that you guys can do. For me, in this channel, I like to make it simple. Simple is the best way to understand things. I am not saying that the item is trash. I think it has some value, but I just think that the Concealed Dagger is a better approach to the game. Now, you might have already crafted other items in here, which is fine. You don't need to hate on other equipments in here, right? Let's say you have crafted the Ring of Doom, like our friend Puddle Cakes, and he crit it. God damn it. He crafted the Ring of Doom. He crit it. Very nice. Very lucky. But he's still open on the discussion of the Concealed Dagger. And we're not hating on any equipments in here. We're not saying these are bad because everything has its own purpose. In my opinion, if we're going to compare Horn of Fury and the Dagger has more immediate value and a long-term value than the Horn of Fury. Imagine this, if these things are both casting, right? We're going to get into 15% right away, 15% health. Now, health, right? Health is a topic that a lot of players have really enjoyed, because health is one of the most important stats in Rise of Kingdoms. Imagine looking at the buff of your troops. Let's say, look at my Ramses and YSG. Let's take a look at the troop buff in here. Look at the archer health, 66%. Now let's take a look at the health of the opponents in here. 67, 62, 67. This is mixed troops, 67 for siege. Imagine that I was able to reduce those health, and that's what we're able to manage to wreck right now, as you can see. Looking at the battle report in here, as you can see, at turn 2, we have already decreased the health of the opponent. And as you can see, we have now reduced 6,333 units in total towards our enemy. Now think about this. If I did gain a 50 rage, if I have the horn, do I inflict as high as this? No, right? Because there's no gain benefit right away. It's an accumulation of turns that you get benefit on instantly, compared to the Horn of Fury, which you have to wait till the active skill cast. Now, what's nice about the Dagger as well is that when your active skill cast during the time that the Concealed Dagger is in effect, let's say at 15%, meaning you're hitting that with the active skill damage with 15% health lower on the enemy. So think about that. Which is greater? I'll let you do the math. Now let's take a look at Aethelflaed. With Aethelflaed, you can see that she has ability to decrease the health of the opponent. Yes. But let me ask you something in here. Are you really going to be using Aethelflaed in the open field as a primary commander? You have seen the videos of Aethelflaed, how it works, right? You can see it in the video on the top right corner in here. Yes, some of the free-to-play players are going to be using Aethelflaed, which is good, but this is a whale equipment, a whale accessory, the Dagger. The Dagger should be equipped as well to the tankiest March. Now keep in mind, the Dagger has no rage restriction. It can cast anytime from the time frame of turn 1 to turn 10. All right, in the first turn. Aethelflaed most likely will cast if she's a primary commander at turn 10. Now if she's a secondary, maybe at turn 13. Now also, I'm not saying that the Dagger has more value than the Aethelflaed skill, because Aethelflaed has attack and defense, right? Reduction. I'm only comparing the health reduction in here for Aethelflaed, so keep that in mind. Now, another situation that you need to think about is if you are defending a structure in here, right? You're defending a structure. Are you really going to rally the Attila and Takeda that is rallying your structure with Aethelflaed? Are you really going to swarm it, and how much casualty would you lose? Now, if you actually equip your garrison commander with the proper gear and having the Dagger, which currently right now is on Richard because I'm doing something. If you actually have the Dagger in your garrison, let's say I have placed it into Artemisia while I'm defending, or you can put it to anywhere. You can put it on Theodora for the battle. Wouldn't that be more beneficial than you have Aethelflaed swarms towards the rally, because you get more casualty that way? Now let's also talk about the Ring of Doom. This is a 10% chance to increase damage by 50% for 2 seconds and can trigger up to 1 time for 5 seconds. This is a very deadly. I will tell you this right now. It's deadly when it casts, because 50% increased damage is huge. And especially if you have this in the time where you're going to be casting your active skill. This is quite deadly. But I don't think this is actually better than the Dagger as well. And the reason why, because like I've mentioned already, the Dagger, I can reduce, this Dagger is more consistent. I can reduce the enemy's health consistently, early, faster, and I can benefit on the next turn. You just need to understand in Rise of Kingdoms that each turns matter. Each turn that you can reduce as much troops as you can benefits you. If in turn 1 you can reduce 5,000 troops, right? That benefits you a lot, rather than in turn 1 you reduce maybe 1,000 troops, and then in the next turn you did trigger some of the accessories in here, and you managed to trigger 5,000 troops then of reduction. But if this one can trigger multiple times right away, right? Because 30% chance is higher than 10% chance. You can trigger that more consistently. You can reduce the enemy's troop count faster that way. Now, here's the thing. If you use this item and you're testing it, and you might say, boom, wow, massive damage on this turn. Great when it casts. But imagine all the turns that you have lost instead of the accumulated turns that you do with the Concealed Dagger. Just think about that. Simple mathematics in here. I think it's pretty easy to follow through. I don't think it's very difficult. If I can understand it, you can understand it as well. All right, so as you can see here at turn 11, we have Concealed Dagger equipment has 2 turns, have total health decrease of health 15%, withering effect, right, due to Concealed Dagger. Now let's take a look in here. She also casted the Arrow of Iron. 1 turn left, and let's take a look at health reduction 30%. 1 turn left, right? So imagine that if you have an Aethelflaed support march, it doesn't matter. It's going to stack in here. There's 30% and there is 15%, so that's about 45% in that turn. All right, maybe you're not convinced yet how great the Dagger is. Well, why don't you watch this video real quick? It's a very tight corner in here. Oh man, we're gonna get some deads in here if we don't be careful. All right, mobilizing on the back end. Are we getting reinforcements in here or no? Actually, we're gonna send this guy back because I couldn't. I don't know why when I double click. Oh man. Are we gonna succeed in here? As long as we keep getting reinforcements, we should be good. Looks like the YSS is melting though, but like our rally size is 1.4. We need to keep reinforce. We gotta keep the reinforcement there. F2P Magnus to the swarm. I mean, we're still getting a good value with the fight in here, as that kind of clears out. We're getting a good value in here with the AoE. We gotta fight this on the side. We're probably getting hits big time on the side as well. We gotta keep this going. I know I'm probably getting some hits in here. Deads probably because I think there's a Theodora inside. But I gotta do it because if not, we're gonna get beaten up in here. We do get, I can be a little bit reckless in here because we do have what is that called? We do have troops back anyway. This F2P Magnus probably eliminate that march. There's an Attila and Takeda march, an open field. This is a brawl. This is a brawl. They're definitely getting hits. I'm definitely getting hits on the side in here as well. Not that bad, honestly. They've got way more casualty in here. Not bad at all. I feel like I have a better, little bit better attack on the archer. Take a look. We've really focused on the archer. 177%, 166, which is pretty good, honestly. 27k heals. On the side casualties, we've hit them a lot too. Well, also they've hit us. We got some deads as well because of their defense, and we were there in that area, and it was a Theodora. I wonder if they could send me the report so I can see how much our deads are. Oh my goodness. Yep, they swarmed it. F2P Magnus. Good casualty in there. Actually, pretty good. Pretty decent, actually. Kind of want to see the report in here, even though we didn't really get a whole lot of reinforcement, but I'm really curious on how did the dagger work. Did we trigger the dagger? I don't see the dagger trigger right now. There we go. Concealed dagger. And should be lucky coin also triggering. It's a lot difficult to really look into the reports. There we go, 5%. Not sure if it triggered again to continue the compound. It seems like the proc wasn't that good in the early turns in here. Another proc in here, so that's just going to be adding like a 5%. It's actually 10% now, so it compounded there. Not bad, honestly, for the dagger. I would say kind of worth it. All right, we don't want to get hit by the AoE here. Can this Ramses YSG perform well? I think it's doing pretty well. What do you think? think it's doing pretty well, considering it's not getting swarmed yet. I think it did well. I gotta keep an eye. Reinforcement is good. All right, we're finally gonna be able to burn it, I think. $1.7. Holding on to field presence in here. Adding some poison stack. I think we're doing pretty good on the attack in here and the offense. Should probably take a look. Nice. It's good turnout. Take a look into the scout the flag. We do need to scout the flag. Oh, they're dumping a lot of siege right now. That's a good trade for them. Siege for archers, especially. I mean, it's hurting me, of course. Yeah, we will get 50% back even if we swarm it. Oops, there we go. Wonderful. I'm gonna bring my troops back in here. Actually, we're gonna camp in here. Send that was good. 200k dead on us though, so 1.6 to 4.6. I would take that trade, honestly. They do have, you know, of course, mixed troops, siege units in here. Wonderful defense on their side as well. My scout was like late. My scout was late. I think it's a different defender this time, isn't it? I think it's the same, actually. Definitely my archer is the one that shines upon in here. Here's my final statement to you. You can do whatever you want, but if you want the best accessory, you craft the right thing. Now, when you craft the right thing, I would say put it on the tankiest march, because the longer that you can reduce the health of an opponent, because your tankier march is also going to be the one that survives longer, right? So don't put it on a squishy march. But if you're defending, put it on the defender, on your garrison. And if you're rallying, just put it on the rally leader. But if you're in open field, put it on the tankiest march in the open field and target the enemy using that march with the dagger. I know you're going to craft the right thing. I know you're going to craft the best thing. So there might be some information out there that is telling you do not craft a concealed dagger. Let me tell you this, you're going to be sorry if you do not craft the concealed dagger. Maybe the information's out there is for you to become weak so that they can be good and dominate against you in the war. Let me know what you think. Anyway, rockers, this is my analysis, my opinion, and you have seen some proof as well. Anyway, if you craft the concealed dagger, which I know you will get instant gratification with long-term value.